This conference will now be recorded.
So Wendy, tell us what's new with you. How are you?
Well, of course, if you know, my neuro left my brain. It's inactive, and so that was a good thing because I was able to get off my medicines, and they said I was in remission. But then it snuck up on me like everybody said it would, and it went into my thyroid and my parathyroid, whatever it's called. It's in my glands. It's in my cheek. So they said we need to start you on Humira. So I constantly badger myself back and forth and say, do I really want to go through this?
Humira is not hard at all.
Well,
Better than prednisone.
their doctor, they want to give me, they're going by the doctor in Albany, by giving me a double shot every week. They've never done that here in Rochester. So all my other doctors said I don't want to be involved, but my rheumatologist said that he wants to go ahead with what Dr. Judson said in Albany.
Yeah,
So in my, I know you're saying Humira's not, but I hear you lose your hair, right? You.
My hair, I've been lost this a long time ago when I had the chemo. It hasn't changed, and I do it two times a week. So.
Yeah, well, you know why I have Humira is my last chance because I got the poisoning from the Remicade and the poisoning for the mycophenolate that poisoned my liver. So my liver's was shot, but it's been a year. Has it been a year now regenerating? Because it was bad. So, but anyway, so now they're concerned because I've got a Humira. I'm going to talk to you about your heart, but they want how you were talking earlier about being, careful. They don't want me going out much when I start Humira.
Right.
Yeah, that's immune suppressive.
I got to get the shot, and I'm like, oh, great.
Try and get the shot before you do the Humira.
Yeah, right. They're going to give me the shot before, and then they're going to start it. But I'm just scared. I'm allergic to bees, and when I get stung, I'm down. I was down for 3 weeks when I got stung because I'm allergic. It ruined my summer. You too? Oh, interesting.
Humira, I'm telling you, the good thing about Humira also, it's really good for your stomach. Because it's.
Oh, yeah, because I've got like intestinal problems.
It has helped my stomach immensely.
Do you have sarcoid in your stomach, or do you have it in your intestines, or?
Intestines, and then I also have IBS. I also have colitis, and I have diverticulitis.
Oh, a lot of genetic diseases.
And then they are doing much better because of my Humira.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you doing Humira double dose like me once a week, or you're doing a Dr. Judson thing?
But Morgenthau told me.
Oh, what hospital is that?
He's at Mount Sinai, but
that's what the doctors here say Mount Sinai is good.
Yeah, he's good. He's actually on the board for FSR, the medical board. But I'll tell you, if you ever want to, if you're going to a doctor for bedside manner, don't go to him. You're not gonna like him.
Yeah, you know how that works out with us having 89 doctors. You'll definitely find the one, and it just like is a thorn in your back because you're like, how can they be like that?
But the thing is he knows his stuff.
Not to not be like that, and they're like that.
He listens. He knows his stuff. But the thing is like not gonna coddle you and be like, oh, poor baby. He's gonna be like, come on, let's do this. I'm telling you, he saved my life. He saved a bunch of other people that I know. Cheryl Bradford's life.
Wow. I was going to tell you, the show that you and your wife did was so nice. Your wife is so beautiful. She's got such a beautiful, caring, sweet personality. You're very lucky. I'm not. She's so sweet. And the way that she just turned around and looked at you, and the way she's very intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I think that you should have her speak more for sarcoid. She's got a beautiful voice.
I try. She doesn't, she does do a lot though. I mean, for sarcoidosis, she also comes to like when we have the FSR event. I mean the training. She goes to that as well, so she knows all the training inside and out. And she goes to like almost every event I go to. It's just that she doesn't want to speak. She deals with kids every day, and she wants to relax. Yeah, she helps out a lot. I mean, if you see her at my walks, oh my God, she does probably more than I do at the walk. She
Wow.
answers as many questions as I do.
Yeah.
She knows just as much as I do.
I'm like, wow, she's almost like, like a sarcoid celebrity because she was so articulate with her
Yeah.
words.
And she has a master's in early development, childhood or early development, and education. She has a master's in both. So
Yeah, so that helps a lot.
yeah, she definitely. I always kid. No, don't kid. I always tell the truth. She's a lot smarter than I am.
Well, you're very intelligent too.
She's,
You've learned all of this all on your own without going to school. It's amazing. Your brain might be like a sponge.
I saw a great meme today on one of those support groups, and it was the doctor talking to his patient saying, don't let Dr. Google think that it knows more than my 6 years of medical school. And the reply was prescient. Don't think your 4 hours that you spent on sarcoidosis means more than the 10 years I've had dealing with it.
that is so true.
Yeah, but you know what? This is another Dr. Judson. When I went into his office, I don't see him anymore, but he's a funny character, and he said, well, the good thing about this disease for you is the good news is you're not going to die from it.
Bad news, you're going to die from something else from it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah, he's a character, that's for sure.
Wendy, I had a question for you. So your neurosarc was clearing up, but it's showing up in other places. Are you having your heart monitored regularly?
Yeah, that's all they all keep on saying. Because there's a heart doctor, sarcoid doctor in my sarcoid clinic now over there, but they're constantly, have you seen Dr. Bandula or whatever her name is, doctor? And I'm like, well, I haven't seen her, but everybody's taking my test constantly. They're afraid that it's going to go in my heart. It's like,
It can
they're like,
happen
it
so
happens
fast.
a lot.
It's a silent.
But I've had some really, I've had an amazing experience with this disease. At first I got through, through Frank learning about sarcoid, and I felt like I had, like a bulletproof vest because I knew that the group was behind me. And when I went into my appointments, I love to talk so much, so I can't shut up. And so I was in there, and it just gave me a lot of armor. And I go in there, and they tell me their views and stuff, and their a lot of them didn't know about sarcoid, and it was hard, but going through the group was so helpful. And I always told them I belonged to this group and stuff, and I met another girl through this group. She's here in Rochester, but she only came on once. She's very private, and I don't want to give her name. I don't want to tell much about her. But unfortunately, her mother passed away of sarcoid. She doesn't live far from me. She has it in her heart recently. And I just tell her, I'll pray for you. And she said, Wendy, watching my mom die of this disease because it was in her lungs, you're opening up a book, and then it's a closing your life. And she's just got sarcoid so bad, and I just feel so blessed that I don't have it as bad as her. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah, I do.
But she's got it in her liver, her spleen. She's got it in her heart. She's got it in her lungs, really not good in her lungs. And now they're going to see if she's got it in her brain. And I just feel bad. Like, why can't they help her? Why can't they do something here in Rochester to help her? It's getting worse and worse and worse.
Each body's different. It's going to take its own course, and it's going to let you know when it's over or when it's not.
So I got on the internet, talking to her. She saw me on one of the things that we do, Kathy's Frakes group, something, and she, contacted me. And then another girl that I grew up with, that I went to school with, we went to a private school. We didn't live in the same town. She lived far from me, like an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes away. And she's like, Wendy, I saw you on, she lives in Washington now. She goes, I saw you on Facebook. She goes, I have sarcoid too, and I have it in my lungs. She's like, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't say her name, but it's just like, I was just, so, we've been writing back and forth. She doesn't live here. And she was telling me that she went into, the hospital in Washington. She was having breathing problems. They told her she was having anxiety. She was pregnant with her baby. And it was just surprising to me that somebody, so then my best friend, it's like, oh, I was talking to Sue. I have sarcoid. I have it in my lungs. I'm like, what? We all three went to the same private school.
Wow.
So what am I supposed to think about that, Frank? Is it just a coincidence that I'm looking for?
And maybe not. I mean, there's everything I've learned from the doctors is they still don't know what it is that causes it. But it, in my opinion, could be different for different people. It's environmental, so it can be something you inhale. It could have been something in your school. And the three of you that came down with it have a genetic predisposition when you're exposed to it can develop into sarcoidosis. And then if you move away from that school, then it can clear up. If your body also has a predisposition to not clear whatever substance it is, it can then just progress and progress and stay chronic and then change over time into neuro or, in my case, it was 20 years. I was fine, like no problem, a little bit of heart, a little bit of lung restriction, like asthma. And then I had a motor vehicle accident and it either caused it or it saved my life. But 3 days later, I'm in the hospital with atrial fibrillation. I've never had heart problems. And then on and on and on, 2 months later, PET scan, and it's all over my left ventricle, right ventricle. It was almost completely involved. And they put an emergency ICD in and started me on prednisone and off to the races. And that was 18 months ago. So it can change on a dime. And they think with some people it's just an internal infection. Like you get cut and you get a P. acnes infection internal, then your body's going to be constantly reacting to that, and that's what can set it off. And until you get rid of that infection, you have a constant source of irritant. So it's different for different people, from what I understand.
Well, how can you get rid of that infection though if they don't, you know what I mean? It's like,
right. I've read cases where they've, it's like 5 different antibiotics they treat you with. I mean, I can't imagine it's that good at all for your biome, your gut health. But if it can clear that infection, then it can improve. But it's not the same for everyone. It's like a lot of the Japanese cases, they found parts of P. acnes DNA in the granulomas, doing staining and things to see what the root cause was. So there's a lot of indications of P. acnes, which most people don't have. It's all over your skin. So it's like not a problem for most people, but there's something about it that some people react to it.
now I have a question for you. Did you ever have any other kind of diseases when you were younger?
I had a lot of allergies.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked back, so after I had my heart condition, I went back and I said, okay, well, let's look back over time and see what kind of, medical issues have come up. And I had a lot of ear, nose, and throat issues as a kid. So I had
Like
allergies,
infections?
tonsillitis, regularly took them out early. Um, I had ears that were constantly getting plugged. They put tubes in them, and I had stuttering, and all these things were when I was like in grade school. And some of it was stress related. I went to Catholic school, so there's obviously some stress there. Still recovering. Um, and then it was just a restricted lung function. They found it when I went for a job down in Louisiana in a chemical plant. They give you a full physical, and they're like, "Oh, you might want to look at that." Never thought anything of it, and went on with my career. And this is back in 30 years ago. And then in 2000, no, I guess like 94, I had a lymph node fire, so it got inflamed, and it was in around my hip in the front, so in the groin area, and it came back not cancerous, carry on. When they finally diagnosed it as sarcoidosis 10 years later, the doctor went back and looked at the biopsy and said that was probably the first indication that you had sarcoidosis, so we missed it.
Wow, you're lucky the doctor did that.
Well,
Because
it didn't matter. It's good to know that I've had it for so long, but I still got to live my life. I've been all around the world, and had a full career with Siemens, and started my own businesses, and now I'm on disability. So it's kind of been a long, strange trip. But yeah,
well, you've been a big help to the group, Kevin. I want to thank you too. I've
well,
seen
thank you.
a lot of your, things you brought different doctors in, and I think that, I'm glad Frank allowed you, to be good. I think you've been a real big asset.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm
So
involved in
even
a
though you lost
project right
your job,
now.
even though you lost your job, you're helping others.
Right. I'm looking for purpose. I'm basically retired now. Looking for the next stage in life. So I'm doing a lot of volunteering at a community garden,
Oh,
and
that's great.
and I get most of my vegetables from there now.
Oh, that's
It's all
great.
organic, and we're looking to set up. So first, I have a long-term plan. My first step is I'm doing a bunch of like YouTube recordings on making healthy food. So for me, I spent 30 years opening up the wrapper and eating something, eating on the go. An organic tomato is way more expensive than a regular tomato, and it's the same. And I believe all along I've been stressing my body with food, not eating properly, not proper proportions, etc. So
No,
I
I understand that. And Frank, you might want to clue in this with, I also have IBS like Frank does. I've got, but I think, not eliminating those toxins that you eat is puts a
right,
lot of stress on the body.
right. Plus, so for me it was twofold, right? So what can I do to alleviate and not introduce, and then what can I do specifically to avoid? So for me, I got off of sugars a long time ago.
Oh,
So
good.
low carb, but I was still doing a lot of milk and
I
bread
mean, you
and
think, they
other
say
things.
sugar causes cancer, so
Sugar is poisonous. It's
so
addictive
what
and it's poisonous.
it causes what, it starts cancer cells. Why wouldn't it start granuloma? You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
I
Well,
don't know. I don't know. Frank would probably know, but I'm just
here's the
saying
thing.
it probably does something.
Sugar causes inflammation.
Oh, yeah.
Sarcoidosis is an inflammatory disease, so it's not helping. So eliminating it does your body good. Alcohol is inflammatory. Eliminating it does your body good. Like if it's not organic right now, the chances are that it's being treated with glyphosate, which is
Yeah.
Roundup. So they have the clever engineers sorry, I'm an engineer and, participated in this industry, but they have created strains of grain and wheat and tomato and broccoli
Oh,
that you
it's,
can spray Roundup directly on the plant and it won't kill it.
yeah.
But guess what? It's on the plant, now it's in the plant, and now you're eating it, and it is more inflammatory than alcohol and sugar. It's
Yeah.
poisonous, and it's in your
So,
food.
yeah,
So
right. So
eliminate it.
with this garden that you're doing now, I didn't have very good luck with our garden this year, because Paul was doing it, and not that he's bad at it, but this weather, we've got global warming, but
Yeah.
it's not working out well. So, how you've got this garden and you've got these vegetables. What are you going to do over the winter? Are you going to like pickle them or?
I'm not that far along yet, so I'm just getting started. So the initial thing is going to be recipes on healthy foods, because it doesn't have to be. I'm eating fabulous. I mean, I had broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and carrots and salmon for dinner, and it was yummy. So it doesn't. You can create good food that's good for you. It tastes good, and it supports your biome and gut health. It actually reduces the inflammation in your body and promotes a lot of good things. So that's the first step. Second, I'm looking to team up with these community gardens. We have 40 in the Philadelphia area through the Philadelphia Horticultural Society, and have them as a source of produce for ghost kitchens to actually prepare meals for needy sarcoidosis patients in the region. And I'd be
Are
looking
there that
to,
many?
we'll find out. We'll go through the lists and see what insurance they have, and if they're on Medicaid,
How do you reach
and
those? How do you reach that population? How do you?
partner with the sarcoidosis program.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm in really good relationship with my pulmonary doctor, who is the head of the Jefferson Sarcoidosis program. And we're going to start there and then get things rolling. And then Penn and Temple have sarcoidosis programs in Philadelphia. John Hopkins is right down the road. So, we're just going to start small, grow, and, see if we can make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
MSR.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea would be to create a platform that people can contribute to, both financially to support, the food and the kitchen and delivery and all of that, but also recipes and ideas.
And get your names also. They have names in certain areas that they.
Yeah, I can't help someone in Wyoming, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. In your area, get names for your people in your area. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or they'll have other ambassadors in that area that would be able to help you with people they know, from the area.
Yeah, I'm already talking to like Mary McGonigal, who's
Yeah.
my nutritionist and an ambassador, and going down the same path. She's going more into holistic medicine.
Heidi Junk is over in DC. So, just like, this way you can like kind of get the people in the lay of the land of who they know,
Right. And the community garden and PHS has been fantastic, because so the community garden we have like about a half an acre in garden boxes, and we're producing about 120 to 150 pounds of fresh produce a week, and we're donating it to food banks in the area that deliver to poor people. You can come and pick it up, and
So how are you getting rid of the bugs?
by hand, actually.
You're just picking them
Every
up?
Wednesday and Friday, we go down there and we pick the little worms and the weevils, and we eat what's left. There are some natural. You can do it by how you plant. So there's certain bugs that, like brassicas, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and there are certain bushes you can plant, they're flowering, that attract those bugs. So you don't want to put them in the same box. And there's some strategies we're working on. We kind of goofed this year, and we put some brassica in the wrong place, and it didn't do well. But other than that, I mean, our tomatoes and peppers and hot peppers and melons. There's nothing like sitting there and just picking a cherry tomato and putting it in your mouth. It tastes like candy.
Yeah, but
It's just,
you're so fortunate over there because like in New Jersey, Long Island, Pennsylvania, you've got so warm. The sun is like your vegetables are so much better. Like they just even like New Jersey's known for their tomatoes, New Jersey.
tomatoes and blueberries. Yeah.
Yeah, and their blueberries and yeah. I'm trying to think of what Long Island's known for.
Iced tea?
Yeah, that's true.
They have some great corn.
That is true.
They have some great corn here. Very sweet
Yeah.
corn.
Were you born in the 60s like me, Kevin?
I was mid-60s.
That was the main drink, Long Island iced teas.
Oh yeah, more for less. I think two is the limit in most bars.
Long Island, that out east here, they have a lot of farms that have like corn, strawberries, a lot of fruits they grow in the summer.
Do you guys have easy access to organic produce?
Yeah.
Good.
Everybody out east here is organic. Everybody that grows here is organic. It's funny because like everybody thinks of, when you hear New York, they think of, it being too busy. Long Island is a suburb, and
Right.
then next to we're in part of, Long Island is called Long Island for a reason. It takes 4 hours to get from one end to the other,
Right.
to the longest part, and that's only if there's no traffic.
Which is like never.
Never happens. When it gets to about the 2.5 hour mark of Long Island, it's all farms from there on over back, and it is really, I mean, if you go to that part of the area, you think you're in the Midwest.
Wow.
It's either that or you see cows, horses, farming, farm animals all over the place. Yeah, it's just a totally different part.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's also what Long Island is known for, their horses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just so it's like two totally different areas. It's like you got the suburb where I'm at, and then all I have to do is go maybe like probably about 20 minutes east, and I'm hitting farms all the way down.
Yeah, we had a lot of farms in this area, and most of them been converted to houses.
The town will not release any building. There's no building.
They have to, because they don't keep the infrastructure up, and then you're just putting more cars on these congested roads, and it just gets awful.
Yeah, and they actually even did a Barrens area here, where a whole area that probably, I couldn't even tell you how much is here, but it's a really huge area that just all trees that nobody can touch from near it.
Yeah.
It's just it's New York State owned.
Yeah, the place where we have the community gardens is actually, it's called Norristown Farm Park, and it used to be a state hospital for the mentally and criminally insane.
Okay.
And for the good people that were behaving, they got to work in the fields. So they have this huge tract of land in the middle of suburbia, and it was all farmland, and then they would sell the produce and do some parties and whatever with the proceeds. They really curtailed I think it was Reagan who let them all out. They said, well, you're just a little insane, so we're not taking you on the state or federal level, so get out. And they just released them all to Norristown. Now that's our homeless population. But they dedicated that space to be open space. And so now there's walking trails and They have a farmer who comes in and he leases the land and grows feed for cattle and other crops. And then the Philadelphia Horticultural Society they're leasing out, I think it's 4 acres. We have just about a half an acre right now. It just started last year. We were building boxes in the early spring. So the first set of boxes we built are going to be for lease for anyone that wants to participate, and then they're going to continue to till and grow and plant for food security for the region. But there's over 40 of them in Philadelphia.
Do they think there's going to be a lot of problems, in the future?
I think they're seeing a trend where people on the lower level on the income scale tend to eat more pizza and McDonald's and packaged food
Because it's cheaper.
And that's leading them to inflammatory diseases and lifestyle diseases like diabetes and overweight, obesity, and all the horrible things that happen along the way when you're get off to a bad start. So they're seeing the childhood obesity, and it's kind of a two-pronged approach. One of the directors there spends 3 days a week going around to different groups trying to teach kids the benefits of eating whole foods. So she brings fresh tomatoes, and they try these fresh grown organic tomatoes that were just picked off the vine, and they're just fantastic. And they're like, this is good, I could eat this. So trying to change habits and educate them early on to eat the rainbow, and they're doing a good job.
That's good. I just think it's great that you're, reaching out towards the sarcoid people in that area. I'm sure, like where Frank doesn't live far from New York City, there's a lot of people from 9/11 that are coming down still with sarcoid. Because I had a conversation with my doctor, and he said he had a couple of people in Rochester here that are, just leftovers from 9/11.
Yeah.
So what do you see that in Pennsylvania? I mean, you're not far from New York.
I don't think that had such an immediate impact because we're far enough away. We weren't getting the dust. But I would suspect. I don't know. I don't know if there's been studies done, but what I suspect one of the reasons it affects many Black people, particularly Black women in America, is due to location. They're living in the bad areas in the city next to the refineries and the chemical plants, and they're living in food deserts where there's nobody selling organic produce within 15 miles of where they live. So what are you going to get? You're going to go to the local corner store and you're going to buy something with a package. It's loaded with, polyunsaturated fats and, all these bad things and all the additives and preservatives. And, that's what you eat.
So it's funny you said that, I bring it up, African American, but you find a lot of their mother has the same disease.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually, I hear a lot about that. I've had people contact me and tell me that.
Yeah.
So, it's, depressing, but I'm like, obviously they're in the same area, because
they grew up in the same environment.
A lot of African American homes, they're very like family orientated. They get together for like Labor Day and they have like cookouts and they a lot of the religious ones that get together and maybe their mother lives in the house and takes care of their kids. You know what I'm saying? The grandmother does a lot of work in the house. They live together. Because that's what my best friend is like. But I want to know why. Like that's a good thing because I was like trying to figure out why this is happening. because I really care about, and I don't want to see anybody die of this disease,
Yeah,
especially
it's
what
really
I
hard.
care about. And, unfortunately this is happening, and I don't know what to say, because they kind of, the person kind of is like used to watching their parent die, and then they're suffering so badly, and I don't know.
Right, so now they're resigned to it. They don't think they have a chance. It's just the way it is. And their kids are going to have it. And how do you break that cycle?
Wendy, that's why we had that last forum that we had. Because a lot of it was about not just, not just because it's a racial diversity. It's really, a lot of it has to do with environment diversity. I brought it up in that forum itself. Um, like you said, it's where people are living. Like I always talk about here, there's 3 cancer clusters in my town alone. So you figure if there's a cancer cluster, odds are there are sarcoidosis clusters following it, right up behind it, and especially when it's environmental here, because I know for a fact that our landfill used to be a toxic wasteland. It was a toxic dump. That's what, and we have Brookhaven Labs that was a nuclear power plant. So you figure
I
it
live
out.
on an ash dump, Frank. I live on an ash dump.
So I mean,
And Rochester had Kodak, and they all dumped their ashes in my whole neighborhood, and we live in a ash dump.
yeah, so I mean, I think it's just as much environmental, if not more environmental, and that's what makes us even more diverse. Because of the, I don't
You
consider,
actually dig in my yard and find coal.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the challenge, right? Because you get 100 people exposed to that ash, and one maybe will develop sarcoidosis and get over it. And 1 in 100 are going to develop a chronic case of it. The incidence is so low, it's hard to people.
Kevin, it's so funny that you said that, but I also had another disease before this. I had a disease called endometriosis. Was when I got it, nobody had it. It was like, I would be crying for help because I was in so much pain, and nobody believed me. It was just horrible. It was just like this disease, but it happened started when I was 12 years old. So
Oh, that's so young for that.
when I moved to this neighborhood, the doctor said to me, "You have a cluster of people in where you live with endometriosis." It's like,
Coincidence? I don't think so.
on your street.
Yeah. So.
I mean, we know all of this is happening. We know all this global warming is happening. We've got a lot to work on.
I know. I plan on getting busy. I've never been so busy now that I'm retired. Yeah, they're big, nasty problems. And, it's going to take a lot of people to get aligned to make change.
Problem is, people don't even believe that it's actually happening. So,
That's because they're listening to the people that are paying for the research to say it's not happening, like the oil companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I have another question. I've been really lucky. I have like so much support from my mate. And I know not everyone has this. I hear from most of the sarcoid people, they complain, to me that they don't have, because I've made a lot of friends within this sarcoid, that they don't get any support, that nobody, the doctors don't understand. I don't understand that, because I had that at the beginning, but then when I started going to groups, people are like, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, I had my own experience. So I was really fortunate that when they found it, it was totally by accident. I had a biopsy on my finger, my right ring finger. And I had this huge lump in there, and it was interfering with my golf game. Like, something's got to give. And they went in and did a biopsy, and he said it was like pulling spaghetti out. And he had no idea what it was, never seen anything like it. sent it off to the lab, and it came back sarcoidosis. He's like, get out of here, try again. And it came back like, this is exactly what it looks
What
like.
the heck in your finger?
In my finger.
Like
So
your pinky finger, your middle finger,
my right ring finger,
your ring finger.
right? The first digit.
And you're like, what the heck?
So I went back in my mind and looked over my history, and when I was in like 9th grade, I was working in a country club and was carrying a table and didn't realize that it had no legs. It was just a slate top. And we were carrying up the stairs. I needed a break, and I went to put it down, thinking the legs were going to take the weight. And it just like sucked me into the ground, and it crushed that finger. So I have scar tissue in the tendon sheath. And I have what they call interstitial sarcoidosis. So interstitial tissue is like all of that tissue that's not skin and not organ and not blood vessels or muscles. It's everything else. And they're actually recognizing it now as the largest organ in the body. And it's really that space where the immune system's probing, and it's like all this fluid goes in there.
It was what was it?
It's just flowing around, interstitial tissue. So like you've got your skin, and below your skin you've got muscle. In between there is space that fluids float around in and whatnot. They call that interstitial tissue. In between your stomach muscles and your skin and your organs is all interstitial tissue. It's all connected all over the place. And it was just floating around in there, and it was like a log jam in a river. And it was just building up behind the scar tissue, and I could squeeze it out into my palm, and my finger would feel better, but then I have a lump in my palm, and it would take months to get rid of it. And it was just something I realized and recognized. But
wow, is that so rare in sarcoid?
No, it gets everywhere, right? Anywhere your immune system can go, it can go. And your immune system is probing and sending out, molecules into your interstitial tissue to clean it up and make sure nothing bad's going on, no infections, whatever. And so that was my theory, is that I had it in my interstitial tissue, and that's, short time later they found it in my lymph node, and I know that was like actually secondary. The right ring finger was after the lymph node. But then I had the bronchoscopy, and it was in the lungs. They did the x-ray and CT, and they're like, well, you got it. And it's stable, so come back in 2 years, come back in 2 years, come back in 2 years. Everything was going well, and then boom, things went sideways in 2020. So I thought I had made my peace with it.
Yeah.
It decided it wasn't done.
Man,
So, and then I had to, really do some research and figure out that I had chronic sarcoidosis, and that it can come and go and move around. And now that I was on prednisone for 18 months, it just pushed it all over my body. And now we'll see where it comes back up. That's why I'm still taking the Cellcept, is to try and keep it at bay so it doesn't flare up elsewhere. But I'll probably be taking that for the rest of my life until it kills my liver, and then I'll have to start something.
Oh, please don't say that. Don't say
it is what it is. So I'm going to try and eat as healthy as I can and not cause any other modes of inflammation, and keep an eye on it. Listen to my body.
So what do you think about, I know you're on that what is it called? Mycophenolate.
Cellcept, mycophenolate, yeah.
Now, what do you think about extreme exercise to get your inflammation down?
I cannot.
Because of your heart?
Because of my heart and my lungs and my dyspnea, and I do ride my bike, but I more recently got an electric bike because I can go farther. But I'm trying to stay active. But this time last year, I was a spooner, which was a new term for me. It means somebody who has to monitor how many spoons of energy they're using to do different things. Because I had chronic fatigue. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. if I exerted myself, I would pay for 2 or 3 days, which is absolute fatigue. And so I had to manage my energy output. That's how bad it was.
So that's not an option for you.
So instead, I do intermittent fasting.
Yeah, 'cause to take down the inflammation, you're trying to,
Yep.
it's too bad, how they have like the diabetes, we can't register the inflammation on our own somehow. Is there a test without going and getting pricked all the time on your inflammation?
And not that I'm aware of. I know it because I feel bloated. I feel inflamed. I had a little bit of moon face, and it's almost gone now. But I can feel it. So it's really getting more in
Now,
tune with your body.
so, I got the moon face from the prednisone, but also that they found out that it's in my cheeks, the sarcoid.
Yeah.
It's under my glands, under my ears, so that's what was making me dizzy. I thought it was from my having it in my brain. It was coming back, but they said no. Thank God it's not in my brain anymore. But
Hey, small wins.
yeah, it's like a win. And then, I kept on telling my doctors, they told me that, it might sneak up on you. And they're like, oh, well, a lot of people just lose it. Most people that come in here, don't come back. It goes away. A lot of, so
So here's what I understand about acute sarcoidosis. Like, you're out in the woods and whatever it is for you, you inhale a bunch of it and it puts you on your ass. I mean, it's like sudden, it feels like you've got lumps in your lungs, your hilar lymph nodes, and it's bad. I mean, you get the sweats, you fatigue, you're
yeah,
uncomfortable, it hurts to breathe, coughing is awful,
yep,
and then it clears up because
yeah,
you're not exposed to it over and over again, and your body can clear it. And then, you know what? They're not going to see them again unless they go back to that area of the woods or to that chemical plant or whatever it is that they were reacting to. With acute, it's floating around and just waiting for an opportunity. And I think if your immune system gets out of balance because of stress, because of what you're eating, drinking too much, then that opens the door for sarcoidosis to sneak up on you. That's my observation from the research and from
yeah,
my
because
experience.
they're doing a study here in Rochester about stress causing autoimmune diseases. I already spoke with that.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about
The doctor wanted to see me. I spoke with him for a while. He believes that this is caused by stress in my life.
Well, and the disease itself is stressful.
Because I've always had
Dealing with
anxiety.
all these doctors, the medications, the worry, the anxiety, when am I going to be able to live the life I want? I'm just getting into retirement. There's a lot of stress associated with this disease, and that feeds on itself. So you've got to uncouple that in your mind and not be in a vicious circle. And meditation's good, gratitude is good, giving back is good. I've been at the volunteering at the farm park for about 2 months now, and I've never felt better.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm sure it's not because I'm outside in the sun sweating my ass off getting bit by bugs, but just the fact that I'm giving has been really beneficial for me.
Yeah, because it's probably really hot, right? Where you are.
It's hot, and I'm riding my bike up, and we take our breaks and whatnot, but I feel good. I've accomplished something and got something for it, and it's progressing down a path of serving a larger purpose.
Yeah. Like I said, I thank the both of you so much. Um, we each have our own lives, the way that we lead it, and but it's like we have to come together and try to destroy this disease.
Yeah, I'm looking at a sign on my wall, and it says, "I declare war on sarcoidosis," and I signed it 6/9/2020.
Oh, where is it? Right above you?
Yeah, it's so like this is my Obeya room, my office, and one of the things that happened to me last year is I lost all cognitive function. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember anything. you know, I was a high functioning executive in Siemens, and now I can't even remember to put an attachment to an email. Like, how am I going to manage this? So it was all visual. So, you know, putting up sticky notes and what needs to be done. And, you know, I'm starting a new business with Just Be the Bank here. And this is my health, and this is my volunteer project, and, you know, general life, and just anything I think of, I put it on paper and put it on the wall. And I have all of my, you know, I've got my heart monitor, my PET scan from April when
So
my
is
heart was
that what's
completely
right
go.
behind you? If you turn around, I see a whole bulletin board, and it's
Yeah,
got like yellow
right.
stick
So,
on it,
so
and there's like 58R. I don't know what it is. It's like, then
yeah,
it's,
so
uh,
going horizontally are like different projects, and then vertically are different stages. So like things that I've started and processed, things I'm waiting on others, things that are complete, and everything just marches from one side to the other. Actually, goes this way. I have to remember to reverse it. I'm looking in the mirror. Um,
you
and
might
that was
want to
very
give a
helpful for me.
class on that, Kevin.
What's that?
You might want to give a class on that, because like I swear we all have that problem. Got some kind of
No,
organ.
the cognitive issues are horrible.
I know that a lot of us have ADD. I have ADD, but I
Yeah,
mean, a lot of us
that's
have
why
those,
it shows up anyway for me.
that hasn't
Is
come up in our group. The only thing, depressions come up and anxiety.
oh
And of course we've all had that. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
I
but
feel
he
so
just
much better off my depression meds. My sister's like, you're the only person I've ever talked to that's happy to get off their happy pills. I was taking 3 different meds for, you know, anxiety and depression and mood stabilization, and you know, it was all because of prednisone. So I've been
yeah.
tapering that off for the past 6 months. I'm down to zero, and then I
Have
start
you
tapering.
gone back and like apologized to people for the way you ate? I had to do
Oh
that.
yeah,
Oh,
I did it in my
I was like,
podcast with
oh
John
no, it
Carlin.
was me. I'm like, okay.
So do you know John Carlin?
My sister didn't talk. I mean, she's still not talk. I can't believe it. It's just I was not a nice person.
No, no. Raging on roids is not a pleasant thing to be around.
And I knew I was doing it, and I hadn't, like, they were saying, no, you got to keep it up. The doctors got to keep it up. You got to be on this at least a year to fight this. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I don't know why I was so nice to the doctors. They're the only ones I was nice to.
Because you're prepared yourself and you're intentional about the conversation. That's the way it occurred for me. You know, I went into every doctor's with the 10, 20 questions I wanted to ask, and listened and talked as best I could. And, you know, every one of them was like, you seem a little anxious. Yeah,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
kidding. I'm 55 years old. You know, I just had an ICD
Oh,
implant. I'm a bit anxious.
oh my God, I hated it. I hated it because I was like, I hated when people said, like, calm down. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot calm down. But yeah, if you could give a class on organ, because I was like, seriously, like, until my therapist said, you need to write down on pieces of paper just like you did, and
Yeah.
get Post-its and organize your day, what you have to do, your goals, put it on the,
Manage your spoons.
because they won't give me a stimulant. I wanted a stimulant, and they won't give it to me because it was in my brain, and they don't want to.
Right. Yeah.
And anxiety, they think it's going to make my anxiety worse.
Well, let's just see. Huh? Please?
Yeah, we'll see how the thickets work.
Yeah. Well, one of these action items is my medical marijuana card.
Oh, yeah.
Because I
Well,
have. So let me ask you a
I
question.
want to tell you something about medical marijuana, okay? Well, I couldn't get it, but I ended up getting it. I had a friend that gave it to me, and I put it on. Now, you got to be careful with that, because
Pain relieving.
yeah, you gotta, like, I got the one that was a lotion, and you're supposed
Okay.
to use just 2 dots and put it at where it hurts, which is my spine. And so I just put one dot on me and I was stoned for 4 hours. And after
And
after the 4 hours, I felt the pain again. I
yeah,
was,
so
because everybody on this thing was telling me, oh, medical, it's awesome. Do the marijuana. And I was like, oh,
well,
it lasted 4 hours and the pain came back.
I had plenty of experimentation in my younger years. Like we grew up in the same era, right? It was the thing to do. And I started my professional career and quit and wasn't serving me and haven't been on it for decades. But since coming off of prednisone, I have been having all these pains come back
Yeah.
so much worse.
Yes.
So like the pains from my accident that were like getting masked by the prednisone are now god awful. And
Yeah.
I have impingements in my shoulder. I can barely lift them above
Do
my
your hips
neck
bother you? Your hips?
every time I get up. So like I've been sitting for about an hour now. When I stand up, I am going to be wincing in pain and hobbling around for like 10 minutes until it clears.
The prednisone caused something in us.
Yep, that's what I think.
I don't know what it is.
Or it could have been the ICD shock that didn't work as planned because my girlfriend
No,
was
I think it's prednisone with
leaning
me.
on me at the time, and she got it too. So it bypassed my heart and went down to my feet. And now
Yikes.
that's where it hurts. It basically hurts from like my chest down everywhere.
Wow. I mean, you guys have been through so much, both of you. Wow. I don't want to be there.
And you know what? I'm still smiling and starting a
Well,
business
good,
and volunteering and you got to live your life.
And I love to count my blessings. I'm so fortunate to have
Right.
my mate and my dogs. Oh my God. Like some days I have such a hard time getting up. Frank says he has to leave. Frank, I hope you have a good night. And really, I know you'll do well with the operation. And we'll see you when you come out.
See you in a couple of weeks. Have a good one, Frank.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
I'm wondering if I shut this off though.
You're gonna shut it off?
You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just shut off my mic and my camera, and then Kevin, you can shut off the you can shut down the.
I'm an organizer as well, so.
But the recording is what I'm worried about. If I shut it off, I might shut off the recording because I recorded it on here.
I did too.
I
said I'm going to start recording, and I started recording.
Yeah, I hit it too. So I don't know which one of us is hit. But I'll shut off my camera and mic, and you can when you shut the room, it'll shut it off.
Okay. All right, Frank. Good luck tomorrow.
Bye, thank you.
It was proud.
See you in a couple weeks, Frank.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is a nasty one.
He's been through too much, and we need him.
He's a great role model.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he helped me out immensely last year when I was like depressed and angry at the world and woe is me and self-pity and just wallowing in it. And I look at Frank, I'm like, yeah, there's people out there worse than me. So
yeah, but at least now you're helping out too. I'm really happy about that, Kevin. I think you're gonna do a great job.
So question, do you do intermittent fasting?
No, I did do it, and I was having issues with it. I don't know why. I don't have a sugar problem. I do have a weight problem. See, what happens with me is because of the sarcoid, my salivary gland, it's in my salivary glands, and so I'm always thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
But my body, I think I'm hungry. I can't explain it.
Yeah. So I know prednisone.
They said once I go on the Humira, because when I went on the prednisone, I lost weight, believe it or not.
I lost 35 pounds on prednisone.
Yeah, well, I've gained it all back because I'm not on anything anymore.
I've been fortunate. I only gave 10 back.
Now.
I only gave 10 back.
Well, can you repeat that?
I only gave 10 pounds back.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm now like I'm 5'11", 6 foot. My ideal weight's like 165 to 175, which is like early high school weight, which meh. But I'm within that range. I'm like, just above or below 180 on any given day.
Wow, that's great.
So what I was going to suggest to consider
So I was
is,
going to tell you about intermittent fasting first. Wait,
okay.
so I won through American Breath Association. A lot of my family's been asking me who I wanted to donate money to, my
Mhm.
siblings. So they donated a lot of money to them. So they gave me this free course on intermittent fasting. So I did do it. It really messed me up because this is what I was doing. You talk about, this food initiatives and stuff. I was being bad and I was like, okay, here I'm doing the intermittent fasting. And then I would wake up in the morning, would be probably like, I don't know, 10 o'clock later on after, I woke up because it takes me, I have really bad fatigue, but it's been really good. I've been taking B6 and B12 and it's been helping.
Mhm. Good.
But the fatigue is just horrible. Um, so I, g- I would eat sugar when I woke up in the morning.
Well,
But
that's
then
not fasting,
no, I was fasting for the 14 hours. But
but
then
then
I
you
would
fell
wake
off on
up and
sugar.
have a muffin with a bran muffin with sugar in it and raisins.
There
So
you
I
go.
was totally being
Breakfast
bad.
of champions.
Yeah, I like totally have gone. I was really on a no sugar diet when I was on the prednisone. I was on, making my smoothies and stuff.
I'm gonna have a few episodes on
So
that. You can prepare
it's
me.
like, I think that I'm a food drunk. I think
Yeah,
I
a
actually,
foodie. You
I,
like you eat food
yeah,
because
I
you
like to
eat food.
prepare it. I like to prepare it and I like to eat it.
Good.
No, it's not good.
No, it is if you're
Because
preparing the right food.
yeah, but
If you're baking brownies,
we have a store
not
called
so much.
Wegmans here that you
Oh
might have.
yeah, great stuff. Great
Yeah, I
stuff.
grew up with a Wegmans. They lived down the street from me. So I'm able, I can't, I'm having my, the neuro part of my disease really took me down. But I can't go to the store, and I won't go to the store. So Paul does all the shopping. So that's a problem. But Wegmans
Uh,
has a huge organic section.
yeah, yeah.
Um, in fact, they have a farm, organic farm, where I got a lot
Wegmans
of
does.
my grape plants from them,
Wow. Okay.
down in Canandaigua, not far from me. And so I don't know. It's just he buys pizza, he buys everything. Everything is really not part of my diet. Um,
Yeah.
So he tries to go out. He went out. I said, I really would like you to get me carrots and green beans. So he comes home with all these giant bags of carrots, right? And they can't last forever.
Right.
He hoards
Put
it.
them in a smoothie.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I could put it in, but it's like, so I feed some of the carrots to my dogs, but I put on so much weight. So I really gotta, well, the Prozac's not helping. It makes me eat too, I swear.
Gotcha.
Um,
What I was gonna say.
But like this, intake, you can't intake it. You can't. That's what causes you to be overweight. People are like, oh, it's the prednisone. Well, yeah, it is. Prednisone does make you hungry, but you have
Right.
a choice. Are you going to eat or you're not going to eat?
Exactly right. It's a choice.
So I feel really good being on the prednisone, so I keep on eating. I'm like, I don't care. It does this to me. It makes me happy. So, um, and they
Yep.
think that that's what got rid of it in my brain. They think that, that not being under a lot of stress and my inflation markers went all the way down. And
Good.
um,
So
how How, we don't know. We don't know, Kevin. All I know is I'm really, you need to go on with, keep up with the food thing to remind me.
Absolutely. So I read this article. I'm constantly going through the journals and looking for the latest, and it was a study between two groups. They're both eating healthy. So they're both all organic, lots of veggies and fiber and all of that. And it was a microbiome study. And they took one group and fed them probiotic food for breakfast. Kimchi, sauerkraut, Bragg's apple cider vinegar, kombucha. These are very high in probiotics. And the others, they let eat what they were eating before. And they were expecting a slight improvement in the two groups. And we're shocked to find a dramatic improvement in microbiomes of people that were eating fermented foods first thing in the morning. It doesn't matter what you eat the rest of the day.
Oh, Kevin, stop. Wait. That's very interesting because one of my clients, she was a scientist at the U of R, and she found links to exactly what you're saying, why people are coming down with MS. You know, it was all over the
Inflammation.
news a year and a half ago, was because she was Indian. They did a study that people in India were not getting MS like that we are here in the United States. She said it's horrible. It's because of the way we process our foods. You know, in India, everything is fermented.
Yep.
It's not fermented here.
It was really shocking to me. And so when I go to break my fast, I do it with apple cider vinegar and kombucha and then water it down. And that's what I take my meds with. So the first thing in my gut is probiotic.
So you just the apple cider vinegar like burns my chest. You just
Yes,
eat it.
it's not pleasant tasting. And it's only a teaspoon or a tablespoon, just a little plunk. And then the kombucha has flavor to it and bubbles, which helps it go down. And then I water it down like 50-50.
I've never
And
had
I
kombucha.
get 12 ounces of fermented and water to start my day, and then I go on to a smoothie.
I've never had kombucha.
It's interesting. So it's like the apple cider vinegar. It's got the mother on the bottom. So you shake it up and blend it up, and then it's got different flavors. They have gingerade and trilogy and a lot of different flavors, but it's not soda, but it has flavor. And you know, for whatever reason, I don't miss soda. I used to drink soda quite a bit and gave it up a decade ago, and I almost never drink a soda.
So you don't drink coffee?
Oh, I drink coffee. You know what I do for my coffee?
What?
Have you ever heard of bulletproof coffee?
Yes.
Fantastic, especially for intermittent fasting, because it satisfies your hunger. So you're putting coffee.
I've never had it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, it's really simple. It's coffee and butter or ghee. So ghee is just clarified butter.
Yeah, it's Indian
Drawn by
butter.
lobster. It's from India, but
Mhm.
it takes a lot of milk protein out, which is irritating and inflammatory for a lot of people.
Wow. Okay.
So it has a lot less milk protein in it, which makes it easier to digest. And then either coconut oil, which is loaded with medium chain triglycerides, which is a type of fat, or they have other products that from Bulletproof called C8, which is whatever the molecule name is for 8-chain fatty acid. It's one of the things in coconut oil, but they take the rest of it out because some of the lower molecules are not as good for you. And then you blend it up. So like maybe start with a tablespoon of each, like a level tablespoon, and then you can go to a heaping tablespoon as you develop a tolerance. And a cup of that in the morning, and I'm not even thinking about food until afternoon.
Wow.
And it's good brain food because your brain runs on fat, not sugar. So it helps with the brain fog in the morning, gives you energy, and you haven't broken your fast. So you're still
Huh.
technically fasting.
Interesting.
So it's like cheating, but not. It's like,
Yeah, because you
so it
think
makes it easier? Great. I'm all for it.
eating with a ghee butter, you know?
And who doesn't like butter?
Yeah.
It's really creamy.
My favorite
Um,
butter is Irish butter.
oh,
God,
Kerrygold? Mm,
isn't it good?
yeah.
I love that butter. I have like oh my God, you're gonna think I'm bad, but I store up on it.
I don't blame you. And
It is so good. It doesn't
this is
matter what
where
you put that butter on.
this is where America and Europe diverge. Like in Europe, they know where their food comes from.
Yeah.
They're intentional about what they do with it. So there's in the
And they know
fall.
where their guns come from too. Oh my God.
So they have a particular pasture up in the mountains. Like it's like daffodils or dandelions or whatever. And they'll take the milk cows up there and they graze on these super sweet, succulent flowers. Then they'll take them down and milk them. And that's a particular type of butter. And the flavor's different. And you know, they have that stuff down. You know, they
Yeah.
don't do GMOs, they don't do packaged food. Everything's whole, fresh. And which is why you don't have the cancer clusters and the other things that you have here. But they do have a lot of sarcoidosis in the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, they sure do.
So anyway, not a perfect world, but yes, I'm becoming a foodie.
Well, it's good. I mean, you know, maybe I'll start tomorrow again. But can I make a cup of coffee and put some of my Irish butter in it?
Yeah, hell yeah,
And then what
absolutely.
else? Can I put cinnamon and
You can put just a touch though, because it doesn't really dissolve. It gets some flavor, but it's going to end up on the bottom. And that last sip is nasty. Yeah, you can put cinnamon in. That's a spice, not a food.
and can I put stevia in?
No,
No, no.
you don't need to.
Yes, I love my stevia.
Try it without it. Honestly, I don't know if that would break your fast or not, because some of the sugar substitutes stimulate your body the same way sugar does, which is why it's effective. But it also causes your body to come out of ketosis, and you know your fasting is over. So yeah, fasting is not just water. You can do teas, you can do fats, because it's about keeping your body in ketosis. Um, and it forces your body into maintenance mode, and it cleans out all your cells of all the debris. And that's why it's so good for you. And that's why you lose weight, because you're throwing out the trash,
Yeah, because
which you didn't want to carry around anyway if you're like me.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Um, this whole sugar thing is just so ridiculous. I don't know.
It's so complicated. You know, there's so many different aspects, and you know, like I'm trying to come up with these recipes, and like, well, oh my God, this food is awesome, but
I
it,
have
it
one
actually
question though.
stimulates your immune
I have
system.
one question. Do you get headaches though from not
No, I am very fortunate. I haven't had a headache in probably 20 years.
huh,
I get muscle aches, I get back aches, but not headaches.
interested. Now, do you drink tea?
Every day, I have my cup of coffee, and then I make a huge mug of non-caffeinated, so like herbal tea, and then
Oh,
I
yeah, I like to do the green tea.
green tea, peppermint tea, um, there's blueberry tea's nice, and then I put
I've never had blueberry tea.
essential oils in it, so like peppermint and uh, what is it, tea tree oil, oregano, and then I just keep filling it up with water, and I'll drink it all the whole rest of the day. This is my big blue mug full of tea. And I put cinnamon with local honey because that's good for allergies, and I put turmeric and ginger in because that's good for inflammation.
Yeah, Paul went and got me some giant thing of ginger, and that goes moldy so fast.
Yes, actually, what you can do is you can chop it
So I
up.
cut it up
freeze
and I freeze it.
Yep, yep. And then you just chop a few chunks out and stick it in the bottom and let them seep all day.
And then I have some kale that I make some smoothies with, but I don't know. For some reason, I got really sick like 2 weeks ago, where I kept on making trips to the bathroom, and I don't know if it was like from a vegetable that I was drinking or
Right.
carrots or because my carrots were starting to grow. Like I told you, he got these 2 giant bags. They started growing hair on them. It's like, ugh. And I
Yeah.
like it off.
Well, that's the thing that I've had to learn is I'd go to the store and go crazy and end up with all these organic foods, and then 3 days later they're starting to rot.
Yeah, fast.
So you have to plan your meals out and plan your shopping, and it's a little more complicated now that I don't drive. So you gotta, go online and do the orders and get delivery. And
What do you do? Do you take the cab a lot to your appointments?
no, I ride my bike.
Oh, wow, you ride your bike.
So
For somebody that doesn't exercise,
it's
my
an
professor
electric bike.
talks about your bike a lot.
So yeah, I take my bike around, lock it up. I drove it 22 miles down to my EEG appointment
Oh my
a
God.
month ago.
Why are you saying you don't exercise? Please. I just remembered you were talking about that a couple
Because I
about your
couldn't have done it on my road bike. But with my electric bike, it's almost like cheating. For a long ride like that, I used all my battery on the way down, charged it at the hospital, and used the whole battery on the way back.
Wow, that's great. So you're not going to be able to do that in the winter. So what are you going to do?
I'll have to arrange for transportation.
Yeah.
But I have a good friend of mine. We've been seeing each other for close to 8 months, and she still has her license, fortunately. And she has volunteered to take me if I need it.
Oh, that's good.
Or there's Transnet. There's ways
See,
of
it's like I told you, I'm so blessed with the support that I get.
yeah.
But I just, I always see these, everybody comes to the meet, they don't get support, and I'm like, wow. I just like they say people don't believe them. People believe me.
Um, it it goes both ways. So regular people hear about what's going on, and they look at you like you're fine. Your hair didn't fall out. You don't have any scars on your body. What are you complaining about? And it's like, dude, you don't get it. And they don't, and they won't, and they're not going to be on your support system. So, you have to go through the people who you want to spend time with, and, cherish those that understand and are caring enough to tolerate your
See, my take on it,
insanity,
my
your
take
roid rage.
Mm. My take is they don't understand it. That's all.
Right. So I tend to be an explainer. So I mansplain the disease to them, and then they're asleep. So, I'm sorry. I thought you asked the question. I was trying to explain it. But I get a little too detailed sometimes.
I don't think so.
I tried to hold back and just keep it general.
Yeah.
What's a granuloma? Oh, don't care.
Oh yeah, that really gets people. They're like, what? Could you repeat that?
It's scarring. It causes scarring all over your body internally. So healthy on the outside, rotten on the inside. That's the way it feels sometimes.
Yeah, I always think of it being rotten
Yeah, sometimes it feels that way.
or dead.
Right now, my muscles feel rotten. They don't work the way they used to. And I don't know if it's the prednisone or the discharge from my ICD or what the hell happened, but they don't like being still for any period of time.
Hmm.
But I know in 10 minutes it'll be fine. So you just
Like
grin and bear it.
my muscles were bothering me, and they were telling me, we have to work on your strength, and the more you build up your strength, you can,
Yep.
balance yourself. And um, I came a long way. That was scary. That was the scariest thing I've ever
Sure.
gone through.
Yeah. But same with me
It
with
was
the
like I was
cardiac.
going through, it felt like I was just like peeling out the layers of the earth just to get from one place to another. It was like suffocating in my head. And it's a miracle. I feel like it's a miracle because
Yeah.
a lot of people are just, I haven't really
Yeah.
seen anybody come out of it like I have, to be honest with you.
I feel the same way. This time last year, I couldn't go outside. I couldn't take the heat. My body would shut down. I'd get woozy and feel clammy and nauseous.
Yeah.
I was staying inside in the air conditioning all summer. It was a hot
Yeah.
summer.
But this
And
year you did it.
right. So I was able to get outside, and I spent 7 weeks in Florida and rode my bike every day and was outside playing golf. And I only had one bad day with the heat. And it was hot. I mean, it's like 95, but the sun is just baking on you. And I was able to get through it, and I got better every day. So I just kept
And
pushing
and
myself.
you think you got through that is because of, losing weight?
That helped. So moving 185 pounds instead of 215 pounds is a big difference.
Yeah.
I also started physical therapy last year, and then went back again for another round this year for the purpose of reconditioning.
Hmm. Oh, they do
And,
that?
yeah,
Interesting.
my doctor surprised me because usually insurance companies push back on it. And started slow on a stationary bike and just trying to. They were also trying to deal with plantar fasciitis at the time.
What's that?
So your plantar fasciitis is the connective tissue between your ball of your foot, where your toes come out of,
Hmm.
and it goes up through your heel and up into your Achilles tendon. And when you flex up, you're using your plantars. And when I started my reconditioning, I was waking up in the morning and my feet hurt when I went to put them on the floor. It was like hobbling. They were so stiff and sore. So we did some remodeling, just stretching them out and strengthening them, and it was awful. But it started to get better. And then when I was down in Florida, I had my ICD discharge, and it seemed like it went from just the plantar to now it's everything below my chest. So my hips and my core muscles and all the way down to my plantar. So I don't know if it's a prednisone, I don't know if it's a discharge or what, but I'm still playing around with it. But it's all temporary, and it's good because the more I sit, the worse it gets. So I'm not stationary very long anymore. I get up and chop my food and plan my dinner and plan my videos, and I just got a cart and selfie stick with a light to do the videos and get ready to get started on them. It'll be fun.
So, yeah, you'll let us know about it, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's gonna be
Once
great.
we get the channel established, and
What are you gonna name it? Like, how everybody has their own little.
the first choice actually is going to follow my nonprofit. So the first choice for the name was Meals That Heal, and then the second choice was Food is Medicine, and then the third choice was Nutrition Prescription.
Oh, nutrition prescription sounds good.
That's an actual thing. I just learned that distinction like 3 weeks ago at the farm park, where they're working with the medical community on nutrition prescriptions. So eat 2 cups of berries every day, and that will actually, if you eat 2 cups of blueberries, that will reduce your inflammation.
Hmm.
1 cup for this, 2 cups for that, and I've got this.
It's so hard to get blueberries up here, though. It really is. Gotta get
You
them
can get them frozen
frozen.
and shipped. Yeah, as long
We've
as
got
they're
them
organic.
dried. I got them dried in the basement.
Or just grow, right? So next
Yeah,
year I'm
I
gonna have my
know
own plot at the
when we
farm
went to New
park, and I'm
Jersey in May, we went to New Jersey in May. We went to the blueberry capital, New Jersey, and I picked up 2 bushes. Paul planted them. He's just amazing. I'm so lucky.
just
So,
tend
so
to
lucky.
them, and hopefully they're very productive.
Yeah, well, they don't do, blueberry bushes don't really do good around here. So I put them against the house so they wouldn't get a lot of wind.
Right.
I guess they have to be in a lot of sand, and I definitely don't have sand. We've got clay here. I'm on an ash. I'm on an ash.
So
You know, we were putting in a French drain. We found a human bone. I said bone, and we were digging. We found a human bone.
oh my God.
Yeah, this is an ash dump. Like,
So they just throw the dead workers in the incinerator and dump
well,
them?
I have no idea. We don't know, but it was like creepy because the lady next door, she was a head of nursing at the U of R, and she's like, "That's a human bone." We thought it was like a dog. We didn't know what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Wow, that's scary. I
And
saw this.
we find all this coal and it's just, we found old credit. It wasn't was it a credit card, Paul?
No, it was a credit card from one of the builders.
Yeah, from one of the
Find out it
builders.
was
This house was built in 1923.
Wow.
Found an old beer bottle, the bottles,
glass,
the glass bottles.
Yep.
They must have been drinking on the job. I don't know.
Yep. No, truck workers are crazy. Everything gets buried. All the construction debris, they just backfill over it and away they go. Well, if you get really good, successful blueberry bushes, I'm sure the deer are going to love you.
Yeah, I'm right near the Lake Ontario. The bay is like, I don't know.
Oh, you're all up there. Okay.
So, in the wintertime I go and I feed the deer, but then I had to stop because, Paul, you want to tell the story?
Go ahead.
I It's something really weird. I was this is weird. This is when I first was breaking out of. I just got done with my Remicade infusions, and we were going for a hike in the woods. It's so beautiful. And I fed the deers. I used to bring them apples every day, and the baby deer went right by me, and then the mother comes up to me, and she goes right in my face and goes, wah, wah.
You're welcome. How's
She
that for
yelled at
gratitude?
me like I was gonna hurt a baby.
Sure.
I had my 2 dogs with me, and I'm like, oh my God, I never had a deer. I didn't even know they could make
Snarl at you.
noise like that. But she was being protective of her baby, and so I had my therapy appointment on Zoom because we were in lockdown, with
Right.
and she's like, that's a sign that you've got a sign. It's a sign. Look it up, and
Look it up.
it's look it.
Snarling deer is good luck.
Why a deer would cross you. No. So then, so we weren't going back into the park anymore. But anyways, we'll probably go again this winter. But there was all this, my therapist was doing this. Then all of a sudden, a white squirrel, albino squirrel went by. And she's like, wow, that must mean something. My therapist is so into, all that.
In the nature, yeah. We
Magic.
had an albino squirrel in our backyard last year. That was really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
That was wild.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's white. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, not even gray. It was white.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, they're rare. Yeah, we have a bird feeder in the backyard, and the birds come and pick through the seeds that you put out, and the squirrels come and eat the seeds off the ground because they can't get to the bird feeder. Because after 10 years of escalating warfare with the squirrels and the bird feeder, we finally landed on a solution that worked.
Oh, that's good because I'm to blame. I feed the birds and the rats come.
Yeah, yeah. It's everybody's got fair dibs on anything that falls on the ground.
Yeah. Well, it was nice talking with you.
Yep. Good
Good
luck,
to hear over.
and
Yeah, you too. We'll see you. I don't know. I hope I can make next meeting, but
I have it
probably.
on my calendar, but never know what's going to pop up. So best of luck to you,
It's
and
too bad. It's too, I hate to say this, but a lot of people, I spoke to have tried this group and they just, it didn't work for them. It's just,
yeah, and I'm
so
not. I'd love to get
after
the
I go to this
feedback.
group, they'll ask me, so how was it? Because I made a lot of friends through this.
Yeah.
They're like, how was it? And I tell them, what happened. It's like they go through me and I'm like, why don't you just go? And they're like, no, it's not working out for me.
It's funny you say that because there was a gentleman on the call last time, and I'm gonna look up his name while I'm talking. He's a fellow sarcoidosis patient,
Hmm.
and my pulmonologist, Dr. Perez, who gave the talk in July, put us together and said, first, you two are of a similar mind. Would you like to be a mentor for Jefferson Hospital students coming through? And I looked at it and it was like
Wow.
a couple hours a quarter while they're in school. I'm like, sure. I get
Wow.
to say my point of view on, like listen to your patients and be curious and don't think they're all crazy. Just kind of give them that kind of feedback. And so I told the guy, oh, I'm in the support group and we meet on Thursdays and here's the next meeting. And I sent him the link and he got back to me like, yeah, I was on for 5 minutes and I signed off. So it's
So
not for
you get
everyone.
it. You get it. You get
Either
it.
you get it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
And he seems,
I think they need to like reach out though more, sometimes they have, people on here that can be kind of closed off, some of their presenters, but it's just the way I guess it works that way. But
yeah, everyone's got a different
yeah.
history and experience, and I'm
But I'm
sure.
I'm just shocked, because I have 3 people and they, ask, oh, they're always writing me, well, how did the meeting go? Blah 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, well, we're not, because they think there's a lot of drama. They say it's drama, but I just,
Well,
I kind of like I kind of like you, like I when I first got diagnosed with it, the whole team of students from the U of R during COVID lockdown came to my home
okay.
to learn about sarcoidosis and how to help me.
Wow. Yeah,
Right,
I remember you
Paul?
saying about that.
Were
Yeah.
you here, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I bet my whole neighborhood was like wondering all these people coming in white coats to my house. But yeah, so that's when I kind of realized it was a disease it was that nobody had really.
Right.
Um,
It's rare, and the chronic, which most of the people on this call have,
yeah.
is even rarer. It's like less than 20% of the small number that have sarcoidosis.
Yeah, so that's the point that I'm bringing. I'm thinking that they should have one for chronic and one for non-chronic.
I think they should call it different diseases myself.
Like what?
Like, one is an acute reaction to an external, you know, pathogen or antigen, and the other is a systemic disease. Because I was not well served by having my doctors tell me, it's in remission and go about your life and don't worry about it. I kind of let
Yeah,
my guard, I
cleaning it
let
up
my guard down.
part.
Just lost my curiosity about it, stopped researching it, and wham, almost took me out last year.
Yeah. So, and then that's what happened with me, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just, come out of nowhere.
Because they're like, you don't need to follow any diet. They're telling me,
Right.
and I'm like, they're like, no, it's a bunch of hocus pocus.
Yeah, nobody took me aside and said, look at your diet. Of course, every doctor's like, oh, if you're drinking more than 2 drinks a day, you're a heavy drinker. I'm like, everyone I know drinks more than 2 drinks a day, so I guess we're all heavy drinkers. Not realizing
Yeah,
what it's doing to my
but
body.
your last name is McDavid, and they probably look at
Yeah,
you,
and they call
it's
it
really,
holy water for a reason. Come
I
on,
mean,
doc.
I'm like Scandinavian descent, but I didn't know that. I always thought I was German because my last name was Schleier, but they changed it when my family went over to Germany and started the Catholic Church, society. But it was used to be, it was like Schleier, and then they changed it to Schleyer. But yeah, I know. Like my brother, my half brother, he thought he was Irish when I had all this genetic test, and
Right.
he was an alcoholic, and so he can't even say anything because his last name was well, his mother's last name was McGrady.
There you
So
go.
he's like, my brother's like, yeah, all of us Irish guys are alcoholics.
That's why God invented whiskey, so the Irish wouldn't take over the world.
Oh boy. But he's not even Irish. He's Italian, and because he's my half brother. He's
Yeah.
Italian and Greek. They drink a lot too.
Yeah. Oh,
Greek.
it's a lot of cultures do.
But it's just really interesting because they were told that they were told that my sister said, oh, we had to hide our brown hair because we were Spanish Irish. And then I'm like, you're not Spanish, you're Greek and Italian. I took your No, I'm not. I adopted my 2 kids so they would be just like me, and they're Spanish. I said, sorry to tell you this, but you are not Irish.
DNA don't lie.
Wow. So yeah, and to find out that am so much Scandinavian, I can understand it. I have blue eyes, very light
Yeah.
skin. I'm very pale.
Yeah, I have
Tall. And tall.
fairly pale skin and not liking the sun. I burn easy.
Yeah, you don't look it. You look like you're dark.
So if I put a lot of lotion on, like sunscreen,
You look dark.
which I do, and I spend time in the sun, it'll develop a gradual tan. And I did spend a lot of time outdoors this year. Only because I spent no time outdoors last year.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
hiding in bed most of
I'm
the year.
so pale. I look like I'm dead sometimes. I used to, when I was younger, my brother's wife was Italian. She's like, you can put a little blush. You're so pale. Just put a little blush on your cheeks. I was just so pale. Oh, that's my dog snoring. My dog snores. Oh, you hear him?
Yep.
He's a Boston Terrier, and oh my gosh, he's so loud.
And my sister has just adopted a dog during the pandemic, and she was out for about 4 weeks helping with my dad that fall while I was in Florida. And she brought her little pooch, Harley, for Harley Davidson. And
Oh no, is she a biker?
she on moped her.
Oh, okay. Because Paul is a big time. He loves bikes.
Yeah. I'm getting into it with my electric bike. My next one will probably be a class 3 bike,
Wow.
which, has the
Not me.
throttle, like an electric motorcycle would be my next bike.
So what?
Um,
So what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
it's part Pomeranian, part Chihuahua, and Poodle. It is the strangest mix of.
Oh no, poodle mixtures are awesome.
Oh, so cute. All love.
Poodle are smart.
And the uh, she snores, but she also wails when she's in the car, like so loud. It is so funny. For whatever reason, she like gets stressed out. That she probably, or former owners probably took her in her car to drop her off, and every time she's in a car, she thinks that's the
Yeah.
fate. Something like that. But
Yeah, because poodles, they pick up on things really,
she
like
is so
when they're
intelligent.
little, they learn really fast when they're little. They're very fast, and it gets indented in them. They're like known for that. So whatever kind of traumatic experience that dog had was probably from the poodle that
When it was really young, yeah, that's what we
yeah.
figured. But other than that, she's very well behaved.
It was nice talking to you.
Good talking to you too. Good
And
luck, and we'll talk to you in
I'll
a
look
couple
out for your
weeks.
videos.
All right, I will definitely be pushing them probably by this time on the next call.
Okay,
Then,
thank you. Good help to you.
all right, same to you, Wendy.
Bye.
Bye.